Welcome back to this series of conversations at the Dark Reading News Desk at RSA. Terry Sweeney here with Dark Reading. Joining us now is Shay Levi, co-founder and CTO of Noname Security. Shay, thanks for joining us on the Dark Reading News Desk today.
Thank you for having me.
We are talking about application security. It unfortunately rocketed into the headlines during the last year with some fairly high-profile breaches. Help us understand the landscape that software developers and the organizations that they work for are trying to deal with now.
A great question. So yeah, as you mentioned, they did pop into the headlines big time, right? Everything that happened with the Experian and Peloton and Coinbase just now, right?
Sure.
Like everything around API security, really, because this is kind of focus. So what we feel is that the modern environment is very scattered. Organizations have a lot of trouble understanding where their applications are even. Like they're scattered across multiple clouds, multiple regions, like it's very scattered environment. And the dev velocity these days is crazy high. Like developers are pushing in code very, very fast. What happens is the security teams have to catch up. They play this catch-up game and they have to kind of figure out, okay, what is going on? And this is kind of what we see right now that is a very lucrative attack vector for attackers to attack those applications. We look at it from the prism of API security, because this is kind of what we do. But this is basically the trajectory that we see in the market. Yeah.
Thanks for that. I mean, API security testing has emerged as a solid way to reduce, if not eliminate, these code-level attacks. Help us understand why API security testing is effective.
Right. So the key reason to do API security testing is because, well, as a developer works on a new app, mostly this app is constructed with APIs. Almost all communication in and out of this app is APIs. And while you're coding, if you can instantly get like, okay, I need to change it to be more secure. This is what I need to do to be safer. Then the whole remediation cycle becomes much shorter. So any new API that I'm introducing to the environment, any new version that I'm about to release, I know and I'm confident that I'm not introducing new vulnerabilities into my environment. Over time, I know the general security of my organization is going to improve massively. Right? So this is the reason we see this trajectory to kind of help developers, while they're coding, do their job in a safer way. Right? Release APIs that are much safer into my production environment, staging environment, regardless of which environment it is.
The reputation, rightly or wrongly deserved, is that application security is a drag on the organization performance.
Right.
Which I'm sure is true in some cases, but it also feels like the industry has, to a certain degree, risen above that. Talk a bit, if you would, about how API testing can boost innovation, with the implicit sort of understanding that it's also accelerating the path of code through the development process.
Sure. So it's important we understand where the friction comes from. All right. So if I'm a developer and I'm working on a new API, a new application, and then I release it, and a month later, application security comes through the door, and they're like, you need to change it because we found this and this and that. And I'm like, oh, I have to go back and understand what I did there and then fix it. So that it creates friction between the developers and the security. But if while I'm coding it, while I'm working on it, I get immediate insights into, I need to do this to be safer, well, I don't mind. I'm in that mindset. I'm anyway working on what I'm doing right now. I'll fix it. And then it creates the whole cycle to be much smoother, right? I'm safe from day one. It's easier for me to work on it. This is the reason that API security testing is so appealing, I feel.
Speed and efficiency are, of course, the biggest priorities in the development environment. How can security elbow its way in there and be part of that process, again, without being a drag on performance?
Right. That's a great question. So I think the importance is that it would be automated as much as possible.
Okay.
If there's a manual handle in the middle, then it will drag the entire organization down because you'll have to wait for security. It will be like a brake on the advancement of the business. But if it's automated, if while I'm coding, I have API security testing, and after I'm releasing something, everything is automatic in terms of securing it. And if something is wrong, I immediately get it to me directly. No manual work around it, then everything stays smooth in the organization, and then it can perform in a business level that is competitive and still appealing to developers and the market itself.
Break this down for us. What does this end up meaning for customers and for the market in general?
Right. So I think a few trajectories that we already feel. So we hear a lot about shifting left, right? And the reason for it is exactly that. Like we want to move it to the developer as they're working on it, so the remediation cycle will be shorter. The other thing that is happening now is that regardless of which security tools and platforms you choose to use, you have to be able to automate those. So you have to kind of use the same workflows that the organization is used to. If they are used to using a certain SIM, you need your results to flow into that same SIM. If they're used to a certain ticketing system or alert system, or regardless of what it is, you have to integrate directly into it to prevent the friction of them having another console they have to look at, another process that they have to go through. Like no one has time for it, right? You'll slow the business down. No one wants it.
Being more proactive with software testing is a regular theme in these application security conversations.
Right.
How can developers and their organizations stay proactive against the bad actors, along with the bots who are, always seeking out the vulnerabilities around the clock?
Right, right. So the way to stay proactive is, there's several things. So security testing is one. The second thing is that we have to make the remediation process as smooth as possible. Like if a certain security incident happens or a certain security issue appears, if the remediation cycle is long and the instructions are unclear and everything is kind of messy, then it's not going to, the proactiveness of it is not going to work, right? But if a certain something is wrong, let's say you have an internal API that is open to the internet, if the instructions are very clear on how to fix it, like you have an internal API that's open to the internet, fix it now so we won't be attacked later, and this is how you fix it, like 1, 2, 3, then everything will be much easier to do. And this is what we try to do as a company in Noname Security. We try to help you remediate those issues as early as possible and as seamless as possible.
Shay, some great insights on application security and development. Thanks for joining us for the Dark Reading News Desk today.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking with Shay Levi of Noname Security. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.